Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We have everything you need to know about what's happening today with AMC stock as well as the broad markets. AMC stock is in the green today. This is followed by some encouraging data that came out for our markets. That is neither here or there. This is a drop in the bucket compared to the move that I expect to see here shortly. But on top of that, we're going to go over the option activity. We're going to look at the cost to borrow fees because cost to borrow fees are going even higher. Just when you thought the cost to borrow fees could not go higher, well, they are. So we're going to get into all of this information, take a look at AMC on a technical basis as well. If that sounds like something you are interested in and you are ready for, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It is free $99. If you guys also want to come trade with me live every time I make a trade, if you so choose to. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't listen to anything that I do or don't do anything that I do. Ultimately, you could lose money. Link down below in the description of this video. So AMC stock is up about 0.5% at the time of recording this video. Now, this is really just a broader move that we have seen recently over the past kind of week or so. You've seen a lot of your small and mid cap stocks start to outperform and start to do relatively well. Now, your big tech names, a lot of them are doing okay as well. Microsoft is down a little bit today. Apple is up over 1%. Your other, large tech names, same story. Some are up, some are down. It's not like you're getting a mass sell-off of big tech, but you're definitely getting small caps getting bought today. And AMC is the biggest stock in the Russell 2000. So it's definitely, having a positive effect to AMC today. Everyone is just simply waiting to see, what happens next for AMC as far as this court proceeding. And that's ultimately the thing that's going to give AMC that big move, that next 20-30% plus move. Well, it's not going to come from anything besides this court ruling. Now, the court ruling, I've said over and over and over and over again, I expect to be bullish and I expect to have a positive reaction on AMC stock. It wouldn't surprise me if initially people do sell off the stock upon the actual, judge making her ruling. But I think it will become very clear very quickly that this is a positive for AMC. So I think if you're someone that is ever bet on AMC or someone that's ever went long on AMC, right now is the most exciting time to do those things. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. Obviously, AMC could drop to $2 per share. If that were to happen, then it would just confirm to us how utterly manipulated AMC is. We already know it's manipulated, but if this doesn't have a positive reaction in some degree, well, I mean, it would be hard not to argue that maybe Gensler himself is in on this, because that just wouldn't make any sense at that point. So there's a very strong bullish case here, and that is really what I've tried to highlight over the past week or so now. AMC stock should not fall on this conversion. So that brings us up to the most important question of all. When is this ruling actually going to happen? Well, we don't know. It could very likely be this week. Now, probably not on a Monday or Friday. Could be. But more than likely it'd be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, as that is really the main part of the week, right? Courts kind of get back in order on Monday. They start doing their thing. So I don't really expect any announcement on a Monday, although it is possible. Same thing on a Friday as it is the end of the week. So probably a good 25% chance we get a ruling on this between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So do keep that in mind. Now, if we take a look at the Ortex data for AMC stock, option activity, something that makes me very bullish. Look at this put to call ratio. You've never seen anything like this before. Like, look at the rally in January when AMC was going bankrupt, quite literally going bankrupt. The put to call ratio is down here. You're way up here. Look at June. Put to call ratio was right here. You're way above that. which really just doesn't make any sense if you think about this logically, where AMC's business is now compared to then is much better. AMC is going to raise billions of dollars of capital for a lot less dilution than we've seen back here. So why is everyone so negative on AMC? Well, I think it's one of those things where you're just getting a follow through from hedge funds and institutions that really have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea why they are in this trade. And that's ultimately what is going to panic them out of these positions. Now, today, so far, you have seen 3 orders totaling $535,000 with a positive order value of 0%, which, again, that's pretty common these days. Not a lot of people are going out and buying calls on AMC, when in all reality, this would be the best time to go out and actually buy some calls. Now, if we take a look at some of the cost to borrow fees and where the short interest numbers are currently, short score is at a record high, meaning that AMC is the most squeezable that you have literally ever seen. Can you fathom that? Let me say it again, just so it sinks in. AMC is the most squeezable right now than you have ever seen in the past. I mean, I think that tells you something right there. Now, you currently have $626.73 million worth of short positions in AMC. Estimated short interest of free float at 28.03%. 178.12 million shares that are currently out on loan. Days to cover continues higher, up 106.37% in the last 3 months. Currently at 10.18 days to cover. Cost to borrow, 258.41%, trailing 3-month average, breaking out to a new high on the 3-month average, up about 7% in the last 3 months. Utilization at 98.86. I do believe, again, Ortex is picking up some of the shares that are being sold by firms such as Intera Capital in APE. And I think they're picking that up as just more shares available for AMC, when in all reality, that's not what it looks like. Now, AMC stock is still on the threshold securities list. No shocker there. People don't want to buy back those failure to delivers, those positions. They need to close out. So it wouldn't surprise me if AMC remains on the threshold securities list for quite a while. Now, live short interest of free float, 28.01%, 144.63 million shares that are currently sold short. Now, cost to borrow average going up quite a bit. Friday was at 688%. Now it's at 1,000%. Cost to borrow max sitting at 1,041%. Cost to borrow minimum really rocketing higher here today, 931.16%. Interactive Brokers still has its cost to borrow fee, the same as it was yesterday. And we did get one reading yesterday. And that was at 2,100 hours, 700,000 shares that were available with a cost to borrow fee of 974.92%. You're still at 974.92% here today. So these cost to borrow fees have remained very elevated and just very sticky overall. It doesn't really look like, it's getting any better for the hedge funds. And that's another part of this as well. Hedge funds paying these cost to borrow fees is just unsustainable. I don't think any of these hedge funds, right? I don't think a single one of them that is currently short in AMC expected this to actually take this long. And I think that is another problem for the potential hedge funds. Now, the possibility of a gamma squeeze is certainly real this week as well. You currently have 50,000 calls in the money, 449,000 calls out the money. In the money puts at 341,000. Out the money puts at 507,000. So some massive option activity for this week. Again, you have a lot of puts in the money. You have very few calls in the money. If you start to see puts go from into the money, out of the money, that is buying pressure, and that would be bullish. Same thing on the call side. If you see the calls, more of them start to go into the money from out of the money, that is also a form of bullish, buying pressure. That would be the market makers that would have to go out and, get rid of some of the short positions that they have, aka buying stock, and go out and buy some stock on the call side to hedge out the calls that would be going into the money. So there definitely is a lot of fuel on the fire per se. If we can get a match to start that up, well, it could get pretty explosive pretty quickly. Now, a big story of this week as well is earnings. Like I said in the last video, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, at least in pre-market, that's all dominated by earnings. Now, Wednesday after hours, Tesla, Netflix, IBM, Las Vegas Sands, and Discover. The big stories of this week will be Tesla, Netflix, even to a lesser degree, American Express on Friday, Capital One Thursday and after hours, Discover Wednesday and after hours. Credit will be a big topic of conversation this week with the credit card companies. Also, chips, TSMC will report earnings Thursday pre-market. But if you wanted to pick out two names here that are going to be the biggest for our markets, it's definitely Tesla and Netflix. And Tesla is actually seeing some very good news here on the day as well. So we'll see how those earnings do evolve. Now, as far as the data this morning, 8:30 in the morning, you got New York Empire State Manufacturing Index. Now, this was expected to come in at negative 4.3% or negative 4.3. This came in at positive 1.1. So in positive territory. I've told you guys many times over again now, the markets don't want to see recessionary data. Inflation has come down. You don't want to see what looks like the economy going into recession. That's would be the thing that causes the markets to crash, essentially. So as long as we continue to see inflation coming down and good economic data, there's not really a huge bear case on the markets besides for your big tech names that are already trading at the highest valuations that they have seen in decades, right? Even higher than what we've seen during, COVID or 2021, based on interest rates and bond yields being at almost 5%, as well as the lack of growth a lot of those companies are seeing. They're at multi-decade highs as far as valuations are concerned. So that's the biggest problem that potentially you could see for the markets. Earnings, it looks like economic data, at least here today, coming in a little bit better than expectations. Now, as I reported in the last video as well, something big to watch is Barbie, that's going to be hitting theaters on July 21st. Adam Aaron has made multiple posts about this, and if you want to see Adam Aaron in a pink tuxedo, well, look no further. Here you have it, young Adam Aaron himself. Now, even this color of pink paint is getting sold out everywhere. So there's been a lot of coverage on this. A lot of people are, looking forward to this movie, and we'll see how things do play out. But if it's as big as some of the budgets for advertising have been on this movie, that could be a pretty big deal for AMC, and it could become one of the top 10 movies of all time. That's kind of what I would expect nonetheless. So there you have all of that information. That is kind of all that is happening today. There's really not too much else that is actually happening. If we take a look at AMC on a technical basis, the stock is up 0.72% here on the day. It's holding again that 8-day moving average. That has been the level that I've been watching as of recently. It seems like if you hold this on support, you tend to kind of break up to this upper end range of about 450. And you kind of seen a move higher today and then a big move lower, and now you're kind of in the middle there. So I don't think really any of this matters until we get the court hearing, but the better the technicals look heading into that, potentially the bigger positive reaction that we could see to the upside. Now, keep in mind, when almost 30% of the float sold short, you could have a real short interest of 150 to 200%. Depending on how many apes still hold AMC stock, the real float that's outstanding could be a lot smaller relative to 144 million shares that are sold short by hedge funds and institutions. So that could cause a pretty dramatic move to the upside when this hearing does come. Now, who knows? I don't know when it's going to happen. Could be this week, could be next week. I doubt it goes further than that. Now, if we take a look at the RSI is at 45.24, so it's not quite at that neutral level of 50, still technically a little bit on the oversold side, so there's a lot of room to run there as well. And if we go ahead and pull up the MACD is actually in bullish territory. This yellow line, this CCC line, is above the blue signal line, so that is a bullish thing. Now, on an overall positive or negative basis, well, the MACD is still pretty negative. You're under this middle ground here, right? And it's hard to see if you zoom this out, but the middle ground is going to be right about here, where the signal line it actually won't pull up for whatever reason, but right about here, where it's like you can see on the right side. Actually, I think my face is covering it, but either positive or negative. You're still negative, but you're starting to get a little bit more positive here on the day today and over the last couple of trading days, guys. So that is going to do it for this video. There's not too much that's actually happening company specific wise with AMC, but again, some things happening in the markets, and again, some things happening over on Ortex with the cost of borrow fees. And some of the data that came out today was just very supportive of your small and mid cap stocks. That's probably what is actually playing out here today. So that is going to do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.